Late last week, on Friday, right as we were ending the stream, somebody came into chat and they were like, Luke, did you hear they canceled Fairgame $? I was like, I did not hear that. And I feel like I would have heard that if that was locked in and like real. But okay. And I looked into it. And it's now since been updated. And basically what happened is that there were a series of unfortunate events. Michael Pachter, he has a podcast and he does a lot of like industry analysis stuff and everything. And basically what happened is that he claimed a prolific industry analyst was speaking during his Pachter Factor, which is an awesome name for a podcast, by the way, Pachter Factor podcast. He said that Fairgames had been canceled. He said it kind of in loose terms, off the cuff. And it was in a broader conversation when he was speaking about Jade Raymond leaving the company. Because if you don't recall, basically what happened is they had held, allegedly, a playtest earlier this year. And something happened at some point. As you can see, Bloomberg mentioned that unidentified sources have shown concerns about how Fairgames is progressing at Haven, which could be a contributor to Raymond's sudden departure. And it really sounded like Jade had been fired. This didn't sound like one of those situations where, you know, she just decided to retire after months of consideration. They said that like staff were informed about her departure by like an email, you know, it wasn't a thing where she came into the studio and said, guys, tomorrow's my last day. I'm going to miss you guys so much. She just didn't show up on Monday, basically, which sounds like you got fired. It really does. The dollar is gone. Yeah, dude, I'm sorry, not sorry. I really think I may have had something to do with that. I'm sorry. But you put a $ at the end of Fair Game. It looks like Fairgame $, okay? It's so obvious. It's such a layup for the memes. I'm sorry. It's just funny. It's just funny to me. And now they're like, it's not Fairgame $. Now it's just Fair Games. Or what I've also seen is the upcoming game, Fair Games, and then in parentheses, stylized with a $. I was like, if you ever have to have a parenthetical after the title of your product, something's gone wrong. Like, imagine if it was like, they do this with MacBooks as well, to be fair. If you try to order through like Best Buy, it'll be like Best Buy 14-inch MacBook Pro or 16-inch MacBook Pro 2026 model or 2025 model or this or that. And so they specifically clarify what it is because the name isn't clear. The name doesn't help you as much as you need to, right? And in this case, it's the same thing. But she left suddenly as a co-founder of the studio, which is very weird, before the game has even been released, because bear in mind, this is their first project. Haven was founded to release Fairgame $. They haven't put it out yet, and she's already gone, which is bizarre. But she was booted out, seemingly. And now I think it's fair for somebody to assume that they've gone radio silent. It must have been canceled or something, but it doesn't actually look like that's what's happened, okay? This is what led Michael Pachter to make the claim about Fair Games, stylized with a $, jumping to the conclusion that the game must be canceled as the studio's founder has departed the business. As Pachter's statement spread like wildfire on social media, the analyst was contacted by Destin, shout out Destin, friend of the channel, Legare. I forget how it's pronounced, but I always make it more complicated than it needs to be. I do remember that. He said, quote, I misspoke. I said Jade was let go and assumed it was canceled. I have no info on that game at all. Feel free to quote this. I truly don't know. So all this news was spreading like wildfire across the internet. And it apparently was literally that he just off the cuff, off the dome was like, yeah, so I vaguely remember the studio founder was fired and got booted out. So I think the game's canceled. This is basically what happened. Was not an actual leak or anything. It was not corroborated by anybody else. It seems like it's still in production. As you can see, earlier this year, it was claimed that Fair Games had been pushed back to 2026 as early testing phases started cropping up. The game, which was revealed in 2023, will be Haven's first title, and it's expected to be a typical live service shooter under the PlayStation banner because those have panned out so well in recent years. When it was revealed, I wrote, quote, it's poised to offer up a fresh multiplayer gaming experience with players having the ability to launch intense, ambitious heists with their friends while fighting to secure riches against other players in the same environment. It looks bright, it looks innovative, and it's the first new IP from Haven Studios. To be fair, it's the first anything from them, and allegedly they're still working on it. But I will say, it's not a great sign if people just without evidence say your game is canceled and everybody believes it and goes, oh, it's not great. It's not great. What I've said on stream for everybody to see, I think what they should do is they should like own the meme. I think they should get back in here and just do a full reset on the marketing, because that trailer wasn't very good in my humble opinion. And I think it was kind of cringy, because even if, and this is the age-old problem for like modern marketing in games, it's so bizarre that this is such a consistent problem. But like, I understand that we have low-level employees down at the bottom of the pyramid that are not making millions of dollars a year. They're struggling to even pay rent. They might be living with other devs in the studio. You know, they might be bunking in the same apartment, you know, as roommates. They're not getting rich. And so they may pitch the idea of a game together as like, you know, an eat the rich, down with corporate, you know, billionaire class, whatever. I get that. I get how they can say that, and for them it's not hypocritical and weird. But the thing is, you're making a product as part of a massive like corporation that is worth billions of dollars, and the success of the product is going to be funneled upwards into the corporation. And so when you make a game that is like eat the rich, down with the billionaire class, and you're charging presumably like $40-50 for it, and it's being released under a multi-billion-dollar company's publishing arm, like, it just looks weird. Like, it just feels hypocritical and bizarre. I understand the people physically making the game are not billionaires. I get that, but it's still being sold on behalf of a multi-billion-dollar company, you know? Like, it just doesn't work. It doesn't click. And so it's the same thing with, like, you know, if you see a company that has, I don't know, maybe like a massive like a tobacco company that's like, we're going to donate money to cancer research. And you're like, I appreciate that individual employees like within your company want to help fight cancer. That's great. But your product literally causes cancer, you know, like it's always, even if individuals within the corporation have really good intentions, within the broader context of what's going on, it still feels weird and it's bizarre and it comes off as hypocritical. And so the jokes write themselves, you know? And so I just think that, you know, Fairgames as a concept and as a pitched product was always going to be like viewed at in this kind of weird, cringy way, because it just feels out of touch and bizarre for a multi-billion-dollar company to be releasing a product that's all about like doing heists against billionaires in their mansions and stuff. It just feels weird. It's just odd. And it also feels very pandering, which is something, as we've seen, the gaming community does not tend to like. They don't like pandery stuff. Specifically when companies are trying to pander to this like imaginary, quote unquote, modern audience of like, I guess people that just look straight out of the Saints Row reboot. Like they think that there's people like that out there buying games in droves, but those people don't exist. Maybe they're at some like liberal arts college or something, but I like Saints Row reboot, that cast of characters would be the most insufferable people on your campus if you went to college with them. Like nobody would want to be their friends because they're so obnoxious and annoying. But they pitched it and wrote it as if they were like cool and hip and fetch. And this was pitched and being framed in a similar way. So what I think they should do is just own it, come back and be like, so that was cringy. Let's try again. And you literally start the trailer like that. You make fun of yourself in it. You go a little outrageous and silly. Don't double down. Don't double down. I think the impulse is to double down and be like, no, we're proud of what we've made. It's like, okay, I understand you've worked on it a long time, but ultimately you're making a product to sell to people. And if people saw a glimpse of your product in that trailer and didn't like it, you need to reframe it, you know? You gotta reframe it. Anyway, but we'll see what happens with it. They say it's still coming, but next year, and this is why next year we very well could get the Horizon Online game from Guerrilla, which looks like it's Monster Hunter meets Sea of Thieves. We should be getting Marathon either late this year or early next year. We should also be getting Fairgame $, and we very well could also get the NCSoft Horizon MMO thing, but that may slip into 2027, which is another Horizon MMO game that they're working on, and probably one or two other live service games that are in the works. It really looks like they're just swinging for the fences with the live service stuff. And out of those, what are the odds that those pop off, right? Like, we've got Fairgame $, call me a cynical a-hole. I don't think the odds are super high that that pops off. Marathon, I don't think the odds are super high that that pops off. There's a chance, sure, but I don't think it's... I wouldn't put my own money into it. Like, if they were asking me for investment, I wouldn't put money in, if you catch my drift. The Horizon game, I don't know, man. I don't know. As you guys know, I know a die-hard Horizon fan very well. And even he's like, when we talk about the Horizon live service game. So I don't know, man. I don't know. We'll see. This is what you get with Jim Ryan. He spent, at this point, I think his legacy is having spent $4 to $5 billion on games, and they have Helldivers 2 to show for it, which is really funny because it looks like Helldivers 2, they didn't even expect. They didn't even expect that to be that popular. It's literally when they don't try that they pop off. But to be fair, if they find a cure to cancer, it's going to be good for the smokers too. That is true, Carl the One. Yeah, if they can find a way to fix the thing that they created a problem for, that would help. Yeah, that's a good point. I like how you have been misled. I was struggling to pronounce Destin's last name, Legari or Legeri, I don't know. And he just goes, it's pronounced, and then types it out again. That's funny. Jim Ryan screwed Sony for an entire gen and effed off with hundreds of millions. I don't think he had hundreds of millions personally. That is a lot of money. And so I don't think he had that. Probably tens of millions, but I don't think hundreds of millions. He took my thing.